Welcome to Empowered Mind, Body, Soul. I'm your host, Olivia Paige with Ascension Healing Sounds, and today we are joined by special guest Carmen Gloria, and we will be talking about our spiritual journeys and what led us to where we are today. Empowered Mind, Body, Soul. A podcast journey to your truth with heartfelt stories, sound healing, and life hacks. Hi, Carmen.
I'm so glad to be here.
Awesome. I'm so excited to have you. You started off in massage therapy, but that led you to Reiki. How did massage therapy lead you to Reiki?
I was just finishing massage college and I noticed I was doing my massages a little bit different than all the other students. And it was almost like I was finishing my massages with a little bit of a prayer, which now I know is like a bit of like intention or energy setting. But anyways, as I was like graduating from college, my mother got diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. And I was telling one of my classmates that my mom is very sick. And she said, why don't you take her to a Reiki session? And I was like, what is that? And she's like, let me do a Reiki session on her. And I was like, I was open to anything. And so I took my mom to a Reiki session and I was able to sit there in the room and watch this session happen. And my mom went in there with so much pain, physical pain, felt really sick, but she left that session almost like a completely different energy. She had a bit of a glow to her. She stood up a little bit straighter and she just smiled. And I was like, what was that? And that's when I said to myself, I need to learn how to do this. My mom did end up passing away about 6 months later. And there was just this strong pull in me 3 months after she passed. I took my first Reiki course and I was not prepared for this because I was still grieving my mom's passing. So I was crying quite a bit in my Reiki course, but everybody was so compassionate and understanding and they knew what I was going through. I just kept going. And that was the beginning of massive doors opening for me. And I've done so much with Reiki and I just love the journey. So that's how I started, was seeing my mom go through a Reiki session and I just had to learn how to do it. And so here I am 10 years later and I'm still doing it.
And do you incorporate your Reiki with your massages?
I sure do. I either infuse the energy while I'm massaging or I start with the Reiki and then I go into the massage.
And what about your mom? Did she only get that one Reiki session?
No, she actually had a few Reiki sessions. She needed to go back to get some healing done. And she just described it as such a light energy. And she felt like a little girl, like it took her back to her youth when she was a little girl and her body just felt better. And I'm not kidding when I'm saying, like, when she walked out of those sessions, she just had a bit of a glow and a smile on her face. And so I was like, what is this? And I was determined to learn how to do it. And I did it. Yeah.
And so you learned it after she passed, though?
Just a few months after she passed. Yeah. She passed away in December and I took my first course in March.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I was still grieving her. And I just went in that class. I was a hot mess. But like I said, my classmates were just so sweet and compassionate and caring. And they let me cry through the class. And yeah, it was sometimes what I'm saying is sometimes you don't feel like you're ready to take on a course or learn something new. And it was a push. Like I had to do it. I was being pushed to do it. Sometimes we feel not ready, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't be doing it, is what I'm saying here. If that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. And then how long did you wait before you did level 2 of Reiki?
I did it. I think I waited a few months later. Within the year, I've had up to my level 3. And then a few years later, I went and looked for another Reiki master and took on all the 3 levels again and my master level to
Yeah.
become a teacher with a different teacher. So I picked on 2 different teachers and they taught very differently. So I blend
Mm-hmm.
my classes in with both of them, from both of them. So yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
been attuned in Reiki by 3 different people.
Oh,
So,
good. And
yeah,
did you
so
notice the difference between the 3 masters?
they taught things differently. And so I learned different things. The first teacher, I only got my first attunement with her, and then something personal came up for her during that time, and we weren't able to finish my training. So then it was about 5 years later, and I met a new teacher, and we did Reiki level 1, 2, and 3, but I never got to finish like master teacher. So I was still a Reiki master, but not a teacher. And she just taught very basic Reiki, just channeling Reiki. And that was basically it: how to set up a session, how to do a session, how to do distant healing. So very basic Reiki. And then my third teacher, I didn't redo level 1, but I redid 2 and 3 with her because she felt I'd already had level 1 twice, and that I probably didn't need level 1 again because I already knew most of the stuff she taught in level 1. So
Yeah.
in level 2 and 3, I learned more like shamanic type abilities and
Oh,
clearing all kinds of interesting things, doing psychic surgery, doing birth portal sessions, surgery sessions. So clearing energetic attachments and things like that. So I learned all kinds of great stuff from my third teacher. And now, even though I say that my second teacher taught very basic, I feel like it was super important. Those attunements that I got were all in person and they were very special to me. And the third teacher, we did everything over like Zoom. I still felt the attunements, but like I said, I learned a lot. I learned a lot about clearing energy. And I've taken a lot of courses and a lot of different things. So I just combine it all together in my ascension healing sounds, the ascension sound healing that I do for people in my sessions.
I love that because that's what I'm so in my head. I'm working on making it my own and not be so step by step and checking off the boxes and making sure I'm following each step. So I've really, in the past few months, what are you doing, Carmen, this stuff? And just
Right.
allow your intuition just lead you and
Mm-hmm.
not be so much, did I do this and this? So I'm really trusting where I'm being guided and working more intuitively versus following the books and making it my own. Like you said, you've learned so many things and you're blending it and just making it your own. And that's what makes it really special. Is
Mm-hmm.
nobody's going to get a service like Olivia's service because she's making it her own, right?
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's the hope.
yeah. So, I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Good.
Through the years, through learning all the different modalities that I've learned, I just keep evolving and contemplating and deciding whether is this concept or this idea true for me anymore? Do I resonate with this anymore? And I've been doing a lot of that the last few years and really taking a step back from putting energy into my spiritual business and more about finding my truth and seeing where I land. And I haven't figured that out yet. And I just imagine I'm just going to keep hearing from other people and what they think. And yeah, so
I love
I just want to see where this journey takes me. And I'm open to learning different things.
I love that. I love that. We have to remember it's not a straight line. It will take us in all sorts of different places, and then we'll love something for a little bit and then move on to another thing. And it's part of our growth. It's part of our journey, especially when it comes to spirituality. I think it's a box of all sorts of goodies,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's
Yeah,
not linear. It's not restricted. It doesn't hold us back. We have to expand with it. Yeah.
absolutely.
Good
Um,
for you for being open and curious and wanting to explore and not just keeping it one straight thing and that's all you're going to work on. So I
yeah,
think that's great.
I guess I just kept thinking also that saying of if you do what you've always done, you're going to get what you always got, and applying that to my spiritual growth and just the spiritual community in general. I feel like there are these set things that are taught to us in the spiritual community. And how can we teach spirituality in a different way? Because if we truly are going to evolve and grow with 8 billion people on the planet, we have to do things differently. So spirituality, I think, also has to be presented differently and in a way where it doesn't have to fit in a box and it doesn't have to like follow these rules all the time in order for it to be correct or right. So I think finding your uniqueness, that's part of why I started the podcast, is so that I could challenge some of those norms in the metaphysical and spiritual community. Is this really the way it is, or is this just a human construct that we've created because we're humans and that's what we do? Yeah, just a lot of thoughts rattling around in my head the last couple years. I don't have it all figured out.
You're putting it into action. Those thoughts, you're putting it into action. And so you're doing something with those thoughts and you're questioning it and you're being curious. And
Yeah.
I think that's great. I think that's great. And challenging, like you said. Is it really that way? I feel like I'm going through the same thing. For example, okay, we're going to go into this. The whole vegetarian thing, right? You're not true spiritually if you're eating meat and animals and all that. And so in my mind, because I am vegetarian, I'm pescatarian, I eat fish now, but I've been on this for about 4 years now. And I went into that whole thing like I can't be eating animals and all sorts of stuff. And now I'm like, well, if you're so all those meat eaters, they're not good, great spiritual people. No, I had to
No,
get that.
right?
It's like that's an example. And another one is crystals. I teach my students, if you don't have your crystals with you in a session, does that mean your session's going to be less powerful? No. It's
Mm-mm.
just, we can't give all our power onto something. We are so powerful ourselves, and we can't
Exactly.
rely on crystals or singing bowls, or they're beautiful in a session. They're gorgeous and I love it. And it
Yeah.
brings such high vibrational energy in the session. But let's say I have to give an emergency session on someone that's really hurt and I don't have all my tools. Does that mean my session's going to be less than the person that has all these tools? No, I don't want to believe that. You
Yeah.
understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. I used to use all kinds of musical instruments in a session, and now I just use my voice. It's easier and I love it. I love doing it that way. Back to the eating meat thing. So I'm always struggling with that concept. Not that I've never thought that, oh, if you eat meat, that you're bad. But what I've been struggling with is, so there's part of me that feels like I can see how spiritually maybe that could be a direction that we go into where we're not eating meat and we're more like the way they describe it, maybe in Atlantis times where people weren't eating meat. Because then I see these videos of these like sanctuaries of these like farm animals and sanctuaries for other animals. And how can I feel so like sad and feel so heartfelt towards these animals, but then eat some of these animals at the same time? And I'm a meat eater, by the way. So even though I have these thoughts, I'm still eating meat. So I have these thoughts. So I have all these conflicting thoughts like that. But then I was thinking, but if our bodies need B vitamins to survive, and if the best source of B vitamins is meat, then doesn't that mean I'm supposed to be eating meat? I'm just like so conflicted. I'm like, I don't know. I think you just have to find what works for you and what feels right for you, and that it doesn't make you good or better or worse than somebody else, whatever your choice is, as long as you aren't, I want to say, as long as you aren't harming somebody else. But then there's the whole thing of the animals. I don't know. It's conflicting for me. So
It is, right? But I was just listening to another podcast not even like a week ago, and they were saying like the indigenous and the natives are one of the most highly spiritual people, and they eat their meat and their
right.
animals and all that, right? And they're one of the most highly spiritual people. So, you know,
And they
Like you
definitely
said,
did it in a different way, though. There was a
in a
lot more
different way.
honor, a
Exactly.
lot more gratitude, a lot
Exactly.
more, like, honoring.
Respect and
Yeah, respect.
gratitude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree.
And I try to
Yeah.
remember to say thank you for giving your life so I can thrive. And I don't remember every time I eat, but I try to remember to, like,
Yeah.
put that out there. And because I have a hard time, I don't know what happened, but ever since having my son, because before having him, I ate very little animal products. I was very close to being vegan. And after having him, I don't know, it's my body really craves animal
Mhm.
protein, and it is
Ah,
what it is. You have to find what works for you and what helps you to
exactly.
feel sustained and to feel nourished and to feel healthy. I'm trying not to have judgment of others, of their decisions, but I have all these conflicting feelings. So it's more of a, like, this evaluation of myself of how do I feel about this, about myself, because I don't want to feel bad for whatever choice I make. But, my brain is is
And
good at.
your body possibly needs the meat, right?
Mm.
And
And
just that practicing that gratitude and thanking. I don't practice that every day. It's something I'm starting to incorporate in my meals too.
yeah. And I've realized, like, how much judgment I've had of other people. I think judgment is natural, but how much judgment I've had of other people. And of course, that could be part of the judgment that I have for myself. And so deciding to do this podcast has really helped me to learn how to be more open and understanding and compassionate, and just being like, people are allowed to think and feel how they want without me feeling feeling upset that we don't agree or whatever, because I can be like that, or I have been like that before. And so I'm trying to evolve and hopefully
Oh
be
gosh,
a better
Olivia.
version of myself.
I'm on the same. I didn't think I was a judgmental person,
Right?
but apparently I was. And so I've had people say to me, you make me feel so judged." And I'm like, I don't know what you mean. I don't know." But now I see what they're saying and I'm like, "Oh my gosh." So I'm working on that too. I'm working on respecting people's paths, their decisions, because my path doesn't look straight all the time either. I feel like a hot mess and I'm trying to figure it out too. We're
Yeah. Yeah,
human too. We got to remember that
exactly.
too.
Exactly. We're
We're
human. That
not,
was the other.
yeah, we're not meant to live a perfect life. We're here to screw up. We screw up, and that's how we learn is by screwing up. And
Yep,
so
that's part of
we
it for
really don't
sure.
have to be hard on ourselves.
Yeah. And something else that really came up for me is how I just feel like I've been gaslit by the spiritual community so much. I just can't take another person telling me it's my fault that I don't have $1 million in my bank account, or it's my
Um,
fault that I don't have, a husband, or, because I'm not
or you're,
doing all the things, or my heart isn't open enough, or I'm not clear enough, or I have a block here or a block there. And even though I think it's important to get clearings done and I think it's important to work on yourself, I just cannot be told another time that, oh, you're not abundant because of your thoughts. And I just got to the point where I'm a fucking human. I'm allowed to
yeah,
have a bad damn day. I'm allowed to have a bad couple of months or whatever. And I'm allowed to, like, have those up and down emotions. That's part of, I think, the experience that we came here for, was to experience the ups and the downs, to, like, figure it out and work
that
through it.
that's exactly, Olivia, why I had to take that social media break.
Mm.
I had to take a social media break because there's just a lot of people are like, I make $10,000 a week. I make all this and all the things to manifest. And I was just like, I'm doing it wrong. I don't know why. Nothing. I'm not getting what I want and I'm doing it wrong. And so I had to get away from all of that. I get what you're saying. And
Yeah.
I really had to bring myself back to me and really figure out my own unique path. What does
Mm-hmm.
Carmen want? And I work differently than you work. I'm not going to take those steps if it doesn't feel right for me. I've really had to bring my focus back to me and tap into my, I don't know, my spirit, my essence, my soul, and honestly, my own unique path,
And
right?
what works
I'm
for
not,
you. Because this whole, like, I don't believe the law of attraction is as cookie cutter as it's been made out to be. I don't have the answer to what I think it is yet. That is something I'm exploring. I actually have a guest coming on and we're going to be talking about that. But I feel like there's more. We're missing a piece because if everybody heals differently, it has to be different for manifesting too. And the spiritual stuff, you have to find your own unique path, your true authentic self, and really connecting, I think, with your higher self, your higher power. Because I've also got friends in the spiritual community who they won't do anything unless their spirit guide told them to do it. And that's fine. That works for them. But can't. I personally can't live like that because I like to be in control of my own
yeah.
journey. I don't mind a little guidance, but I might not listen to everything spirit tells me.
Yeah.
No offense, spirit,
And
but
And you know what? Being human, I'm like, I know I should be doing this, but I'm going to do this instead. Your spirit guides are trying to guide you. And I'm like, but this is more tempting. I know it's going to be a big mistake, but I'm still going to do it. you know? But yeah, I reach out to my spirit guides occasionally, but I talk out loud and I don't know who's answering. And if it feels good, I'm going to go with it. But I really want to emphasize that we are powerful. We have it in us, right? And we just got to
right.
listen to that inner voice, that whisper, that little nudge, that little push. And that's our higher self trying to guide us. But if you feel comfortable with communicating with your spirit guides and that works for you, then you do that, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I'm clearly not against that. I do readings for people. I just can't let it be my end all be all, meaning I'm not going to let spirit make my decision of every decision I make ever.
No, I
Like
agree. I
I feel
agree.
like,
And I think that would be like exhausting constantly. And I don't know. I just feel sorry, Olivia,
right?
for interrupting you. But I
Okay.
think that's a little bit disempowering,
Yeah, you're
you
giving your
know?
power away. You're not,
Yeah.
that's how
You're
I feel.
constantly
It
relying.
it doesn't feel empowering to me. But I mean, there are certainly times where I feel like I need some guidance. But you know what? I don't know how many times I've seen someone for some guidance and then I do it the way like spirit guided, and instead of doing it the way I thought I should do it. And then it was like later on, it was like if I would have just done it the way I intuitively felt was the right way. And what I feel in those moments, it has nothing to do with like spirit having any ill intentions at all. That's not what it is. I feel like it was more about you can trust your inner guidance, you can trust your intuition, stand up in your own power and feel empowered, be empowered, and do what feels right for you. And even if you do it and you fall on your face, at least you can say you tried, and then you can say, okay, that didn't work. I'm going to try something different.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think as
I
humans, we are scared to fail.
Well, there's so
Absolutely.
many factors about that. I think a lot of times we're scared to fail because there's a lot at risk or fear of judgment, fear of looking ridiculous. So there's like a lot of factors in the whole thing about, but I've just come into like, you only live once. We have a ton of lifetimes, right? But here on earth, right
Right.
now,
Yeah. In this
take full
experience.
advantage. I'm gonna screw up a lot of times here, but I had fun. I don't know.
Right.
Maybe that's the
Right.
crazy in me. I don't know. But I'm like, I'm here to enjoy it. I'm here to enjoy it, Olivia.
Yeah. And I think that helps to break some patterns because I feel like I have been conditioned to believe, or I've been conditioned to take the path that is the most rational, makes the most sense, and has the least possibility of failure. And I'm still working on trying to break away from that because, I don't know, sometimes I think being a mother makes it a little harder to be free and, oh, I'm just going to go with the flow or fly by the seat of my pants. That's a little harder for me because there's another human involved. But yeah, I can just see how the conditioning of the way I was raised to really believe, and that making mistakes is bad. How many times are you praised in your life for doing something good, but nobody ever praises you for doing something bad? And not bad, but making a mistake. Or so maybe we should start doing that. Maybe we should start like, woohoo, celebrating those
I
mistakes.
agree. I think that's a great idea. I think that's a great idea. High-fiving everybody that was brave enough to give
Right,
it a try. But I agree. I'm a single mom of 3 kids. I am always dreaming about wanting to travel the world all the time, but I can't. I have responsibilities, right?
right,
But I try to balance it. It is one of my like passions, I don't know what to call it, but I really make that a priority for me is I have to take care of myself too. And for me, it's travel, and it's only every 2 years, but it's something, and it feeds me.
yeah,
So yeah, it is tricky. And then that's where you got to find the other little things that bring you joy, right? You can wait till you do the big things, right? When you've got more independence and not little ones rely on you so much. But
yeah. Yeah,
um,
that's something I
it is
wanted
true.
to do too, is travel more. And I was trying to
Yeah,
think how to do it with my kid. I've thought about leaving the United States and living in another country, and just kind of living like digital nomads. So then I thought I should just travel more. And so I have to find a way to balance that, because I'd like to do some trips solo, but I'd also like to take my kid too. Like I want to take him to experience the world too. So I gotta find
yeah,
some way to do that.
yeah. I get it. I get it. I can't afford to take all 3 kids on a big trip outside of the country,
Right.
right? So I give them getaways where nearby. I take them to the
Yeah.
mountains. I take them to other places where
Yeah.
it's I can do that, right? And
Yeah.
that's how I balance it a little bit.
But that's
But
nice
yeah,
because you're still getting
I still,
this.
it's a must for me. Yeah. But you know what? I'm learning, Olivia, the older they get, the less they want to spend time with me. Like, I'm like, nobody wants to hang out with me. So I'm like,
Aw. Isn't it, I don't know, maybe you never felt this, but I have definitely felt, oh, I can't wait for my like independence, but I know it's going to come to that point where I will have that
yeah,
independence and I'll be like, oh, I really want to hang out with my kid.
yeah. It's a totally different thing when they're a teenager.
Yeah.
I'm going through it. And
Oh boy.
especially because
I'm,
I'm so attached to them and I love them so much. I'm like, but they're growing and I have to
yeah,
respect their path that they're creating for
yeah,
themselves.
yeah,
So,
yeah, for sure. Well, that would be a whole nother talk, being single motherhood or just motherhood in general. Because that's a whole nother thing that's got all kinds of ups and downs and
yeah.
good
And
and
trying to
bad
be
and
spiritual with kids
yeah.
that don't practice or believe in any of this. So
Yeah.
my oldest daughter, she calls herself a witch and she's a medium and does all this stuff. So her and I can really connect this way. But my other two, they think it's just focus. I don't know. They make fun of me and I don't care. I have my crystals, my candles, my incense, all of my
Yeah.
pretty little things that just bring me joy.
Yeah.
So,
But that's so important for them to see you do that, to see that you're honoring yourself, honoring your joy, being your authentic self, even when somebody's teasing you for it, that I like this anyway.
yeah,
I'm not
it's
gonna let
true.
your opinion or anyone else's opinion change who I am unless I have decided that that's a change I want to make, not because someone made me feel like I had to, but because I felt like I really needed to.
Yeah, exactly. And just because it looks different from the majority of the people, that's a good role model that mommy still does it on her own. And
Right.
that's something that's important to her and brings her joy. And
Yeah.
hopefully it gives them courage to follow things that bring them joy, whatever that looks like, even if it looks different to others, that they still do it for themselves.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. How did your daughter find out that she was gifted?
She always saw spirits, always.
Oh,
And she just thought they were imaginary friends. And then I started doing this energy work and all that. And so we started just talking more about it. But she works a lot with children that have passed over. She seems to
oh,
attract a lot of children. And she also has, what is that? Sleep paralysis. She struggles a lot with sleep paralysis,
oh my
and
goodness.
she has terrors, and my poor child goes through a lot with her energy or spirituality or whatever you want to call it. But she's trying to like step into her gifts and feel more confident. And yeah, it just feeds her soul. She absolutely loves it. So she's asking or manifesting or inviting more of that type of work into her life. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Maybe she could look into like astral travel or astral projection and
Hmm.
see if learning about that would help her with her sleep paralysis. If she could learn how to
Yeah.
have some more control over what because she's probably doing some stuff in the dream, in the astral
Yeah.
realms. So I don't know, maybe that would be helpful.
Yeah. I'll send you a video. Spirits are always around her. And I'll just
Yeah.
share a quick little story. She was like, felt there was a spirit around her, and she's spirit. I'll show you, I'll send you the video, Olivia. She's a spirit, just flicker the light. And sure enough, the light starts to flicker. And she's, oh my goodness, spirit, like flicker it stronger or something. I can't remember quite. And it just goes like it radiates. And the
Oh my
spirit is
goodness.
just talking to her through the light fixture. And so it's such a cool video. And it happens all the time. And when her and I are together, we see objects literally moving on the table. We see things just, yeah, she's just, it's crazy. And we look at each other and we just laugh because we're like, everybody else are like, what is that? But we're used to just seeing objects move around us when we're together.
Interesting. I wonder if you guys have
Yeah.
some like telekinesis going on with the two of you together. Do you guys ever
Yeah.
do any practice together? Have you attuned her to Reiki?
Yeah. She has her Reiki level 1.
Yeah. So, I mean, she doesn't have to be attuned to Reiki to work with energy. So, it would be cool if you guys created some energy balls together. Like, I've gotten into a group of people before where we just create these energy balls and we pass them around and then we just make them bigger. And it would be cool if you guys
Okay.
did some play with energy work like that. Or we've done where we'll have the person standing in front of us and then we get behind them and we're not touching them, but it's like we grab their energy and we pull and you could see him falling back
Oh,
and
yeah.
yeah, do some play with some energy work. And I don't know, I think that would be cool if you guys have that kind of stuff going on around you. There could be like a
Well, I should
powerful like
really try. I
duo
should look
thing
into
going on
that.
with the two of you. Yeah.
Yeah. We always read each other's cards. But I'm going to look into that with her because that would be really cool. I think because we have such a strong bond that I think things would flow very easily and quickly. I think, yeah, I'll try that
Yeah.
with her.
Yeah. And maybe, I don't know, it just seems like you guys could develop some more advanced clairs together. Like I said, the telekinesis or telepathy. Like I know my son and I, especially when he was younger, he's just so telepathic. I would be thinking something in my head and he would just answer me or whatever. And I'm just like, or start talking about it. And I'm like, what, dude, what are you
Yeah,
doing? You weren't
it's
supposed
so,
to hear that. That was my own private thought.
yeah, honestly, it's a thing.
Yeah.
Her and I were working in the kitchen together about a couple weeks ago, and our backs were just facing each other, and we were each at a counter. And out of nowhere, I hear mom. And so I look back, and at the same time, she hears the word daughter. So we both turn around and look at each other, and we're like, yeah. And she was like, What do you mean, yeah? And I'm like, you just said mom. And she's, no, I didn't. You said daughter. And I'm like, no, I didn't. So we both turned around and we're like, yeah. And she's, what do you mean? Yeah, you called me. And I'm like, no, you called me. And it's just, and nobody said anything. And we're just so connected.
Yeah, what I
So
keep seeing is there's these other versions of you, and either it's your future selves or it's just versions of you that are existing in a higher dimension. So maybe it could be like your higher self. I don't know. It's something you'll have to explore, think about. But I just keep seeing like these doubles of the two of you, but the double of you is in a higher dimension or a higher
yeah.
frequency. And so my first thought
Oh,
was their future self. So I don't know. Like I said, I just feel like there's some kind of like big connection or something that the two of you could be doing together and working on together or creating together and yeah, doing some
well, it's
experimenting.
interesting. Yeah. I like that. I like that. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how about your son? Is he into this? Is he open to it?
Yeah, I think he's open to it. We were playing Guess Who, and I could always guess his character. I could just, oh, this is who it is. He's like, how do you do that? And I said, because I'm psychic. And and he just was blown. He's like, how do you keep doing that? And I was like, okay, so let's practice. We would wait till I had 2 or 3 left standing up, and I would be like, okay, now I'm going to send to you. I said, just sit and focus, and I'm going to send to you who my character is. And I think he has gotten it right every time, but like maybe like once or twice. And then he's just like, how did I know that? And I'm like, I said, because I'm sending it to you. And you and I have always been very telepathic. I was like, you're able to pick up on those things. You have that ability. And so that was something that we've been doing recently in the last 6 months. And so something as simple as that. So yeah, he's into it, not as much as I thought maybe he would be, but you never know the older he gets, or sometimes he'll let
Yeah.
me pick cards for him. Sometimes he likes to just look through my cards and he'll pick out cards that he likes and he likes to set them up
Oh,
on his
that's
dresser and
sweet.
stuff.
Oh,
So yeah, but yeah, he thinks it's interesting when I do readings in person. Lately, he's had to come with me because I haven't had a sitter. So he comes with me. So he just, sits and waits for me, and he's very good. But yeah, he knows what I do. And there have been
he's
times where like he has trouble sleeping or whatever, and it hasn't happened in a long time, but then I'll do like a clearing on him at night, and then he just sleeps really good. Or one time he saw something like on his closet door, but I was like clearing it, and I was like, is it gone? And he's almost. And so I was like kept clearing it, and he's okay, it's gone now. And I was like, okay. And then every once in a while he'd be like, oh, I just saw an angel walk by, or I just saw, I just
oh,
saw a spirit. I'm like, okay.
I love that. I love
I
that.
know. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he looks like such a sweet boy.
Aw, he is. He has so much emotional intelligence. He's definitely incredibly empathic. I think most humans are empathic, but yeah, very empathic and very kind and sweet and protective. And yeah, he's
Oh, I
good.
love that.
He's 10 now. So we'll see where it takes him, if he decides to develop those skills or not. So,
Yeah.
all right, Carmen, thank you so much for being here. I have loved our time together.
I agree. We have to do this again. I enjoyed this so much. I feel like we could
Yeah, for
talk
sure.
forever. We have to
Yeah,
do this again.
for sure. All right, Carmen, you have a good rest of your night.
Thank you so much. You as well.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining me in today's episode. Be sure to check the show notes for guest links and other helpful information. I'm your host, Olivia Paige, and you can find me on all the social media platforms at Ascension Healing Sounds.